won't let me go live on TikTok because for TikTok you need 1,000 subscribers or 1,000 followers in order to go live. I don't see where I can just hit a record button and record it like I can on Instagram on TikTok. But yeah,
on TikTok, what you can do, take excerpts. Take excerpts from your lessons you already did and post them on TikTok, and you'll get 1,000 subscribers in no time. That's how you open the channel up.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to do that from my computer though, because I don't have it on my phone. Like I go in my files. Let's say
it don't matter how you do it. As long as you know that you can take 10-minute segments, right? Let's say you got an hour class, break it into 6 segments, part 1 through 6.
Okay.
And then you put it on Instagram, and the people that's listening, they gonna start following. That's how you gonna get your numbers up on TikTok.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right? And then you can share your TikTok videos to Instagram and Facebook and
right,
YouTube.
I'm definitely doing that now. But for some reason I can go live on Instagram. I just got to get 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 followers on TikTok. But a brother by the name of Batin, one of the Ansar brothers that I talked to, he pretty much put me onto the TikTok, and it is better and it's more youth on TikTok.
Also, I'm about to open up a TikTok channel, and I haven't done it yet, but I'm trying to wait to see what happened Monday. And with the money coming in, if by November we ain't seen no major changes, then I'm gonna start my TikTok channel up.
Okay. Well, that's about it for the day, brother. I'd love to have you back and speak more about that educational program and some other questions. The Blue Rock Project that brothers and sisters have been asking me to get you on here and talk about.
Okay, so we'll get back in it on another show. We go in deeper.
All right, y'all. Don't forget, again, hit that like and subscribe button. Y'all want to show the brother Rod Hayes some love. I dropped his Cash App inside of the comments. We also trying to put together the Nawabic School. So we're trying to raise some funds for that. For donations, I dropped my Cash App in the comment section. Let's all work together. This is over with. It's been nice. I should.
Quarter then, and it was for the same amount and whatever. It really should still be that.
Right.
But what they've done now, they have reduced the sizes of things and increased the price of them.
Right. So you get less for your purchase power.
Yeah.
So now what they're doing is they stealing your money through attrition model. An attrition model meaning a gradual buildup. So a person that made $50,000 in 81, he gonna live like a person that made $2,000 in 81 on that same 50,000 today. Lifestyle change, they pushing the ceiling down on poverty using inflation. It's a deception. It's a grand deception. Everything they doing is an underlying deception attached to it. And when you try to use their system to break from the deception, they have another piece of their system designed to funnel you back into the system.
So what do we do?
Go back to our original ways.
How do we find out what our original ways are?
We got to remember that our tradition is oral tradition. The more of us to make an oral statement in the public domain declaring our organic nature, our organic connection to the land over here, the stronger our tribes become, because now we have the people waking up to the reality that everything that you do with paperwork is designed to trap you in a paper chain of adhesion contracts. What they call them take it or leave it contracts. Right? So in order to get gas to your house, you have to sign a contract. Right? And then they send you a bill. The bill is acknowledgement of the payment rendered. Dollar bill, gas bill. You can spend a dollar bill, you're supposed to be able to spend the gas bill on gas. But we don't know how it worked because they never taught us. This is why Noble Drew Ali say learn civics. Because only in civics could you see the deception, because they use legalese to people who don't speak legalese. That's why ignorance of the law is no excuse. They use your ignorance for capital gain.
I guess it just seems to me that, you know, since we do still to this day have those Moors that look like us, but we're not us, being disruptive, being what we call COINTELPRO and all that, they whoever they're working for, it is to keep us divided and not to bring us together. It just is a matter, and then you have that whole group that has no clue that the government is de facto. They don't know anything about being a Moor or anything else, an indigenous person, or, you know, or anything. That's where I think the greater majority falls in that. They don't know anything, and so they know the church, you know, they know this, that, and the third, but they don't know these things. And then the way to get that information out is controlled by the opposition. So it's very hard, even, you know, in platforms like this, sometimes to keep, you know, to get certain information out without it being, you know, something that is deemed, you know, a violation of whatever, when all you're really trying to do is bring the truth.
We have to stop worrying about trying to transgress their law, because the Supreme Court ruled that the indigenous people was perpetual enemies of the state, and that they can treat them in whatever manner they treat an enemy of the state. That's already settled in the Supreme Court of the United States.
We are perpetual enemies of the state.
Yes.
So with that being said, then if you run up against a brick wall, unless the people begin to come together. And I'm always making appeals out there to listeners. I'm saying, if you work for some of these companies that, you know, you're creating, you got what do you call it? Like the internet not the content, but the platforms, you know, you got to have an engine, and you got to have this. Why aren't we creating our own things, our own? I mean, I know our form of communication was telepathy and drums and the mouth.
We actually been trained, but you got to remember, any one of us that try to do something that big, if they had a sufficient amount of suspicion that would be successful in reaching the people, they did either two things: defamed them and locked them up, or murdered them outright.
Which is true. So what do we do? I mean, I don't keep saying that, because I mean, at the end of the day, what we need are solutions. We need solutions. I mean, everybody's throwing this, that, there, and that. You know, what
right.
do we do?
So the solution to the problem right now is awakening to the grassroots. This is where the issue is stuck at, in the grassroots. The leadership across the land is already unified. It's just that the people got to realize that this is about to happen so that it can happen. The people don't realize it yet.
Sharing this video as far as you can.
That's
other videos that you've done to get it out to for people to see it, and then start, you know, asking questions, and, you know, just having discussion groups with your, you know, meetings with your, you know, with your kinfolk, you know, things that you can do, even if it's a small group of 5 or 2, but start like the old each one teach one, each one reach one. We need to do something in order to get on one accord with this. And that, to me, seems like the issue. We gather together, but we're not assembled together. You know, in other words, to me, when I think of assembly, I think of a puzzle with pieces. You know, you could throw the 1,000 puzzle piece on the table, and it's gathered. But until it's assembled, you don't have the full picture.
Right.
And that's what we are. We're like 1,000 pieces, you know, millions of billions of pieces of puzzle pieces thrown on the table of life, but not assembled together. And that's the only way I see from my, you know, finite mind, that we can even begin to tackle this monumental task of freeing ourselves from something that we've been entrained in for so long. I mean, folks are literally, you don't even know sometimes that you've been entrained and hypnotized. What did the Pope say? Give me the child for the, you know, first 7 years, and I'll show you the man. Or they said, even train up a child, train in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he won't depart. And we got a lot of folks that have been trained, and it's hard, if you will, to crack that nut. They're not letting any new info in.
Right, because they took sides with a doctrine that doesn't serve their interests, because the doctrine has something called a persuasive argument attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Stop arguing doctrine and just start asking for receipts first and foremost. That's why I put all those receipts. Like when you go down my page ain't regular. Them all receipts. Some of them you gotta be intuitive enough to read them like a tarot card, but some of them is an outright statement. Some of them is book references to tell you where to find certain stuff. Right? Even my videos is the receipt. When I'm telling you, look up the words I'm using. Look up when I say look up fractional reserve banking so you'll know what it is. Then you know how they're stealing your money. Right? Look up the difference in get you a Black's Law dictionary and go in there and look at what the word used to be and what it is today. It's not the same.
Right.
When you can see the evolution of the terms change, then you can see the corralling of the mind. Right? Like today, we say more. It's a catch-all. Anybody that look like us is classified now as a Moor. Good Moor, dirty Moor don't matter. They still a Moor. But when you go back before 1492, ain't nobody over here called Moor.
Now, so we have to unlearn some stuff, and for a lot of folks, they were like, "Look, Dak, I just got out of being Negro and Black, and I just went to, and I thought more was the thing." Well, we have to be open to change. You have to be open to progressive knowledge. And I mean, one thing about me is I've never been stuck anywhere that I couldn't get out of mentally. If me being a pastor, in ministry for 25 years and a pastor for 10 of those last 10, and then when Chu slapped me upside the head, I just like, oops, gotta leave that. I mean, I've never, I'm not the kind, but not some folks are not that easily moved out of, their entrainment and their indoctrination. And so it becomes difficult because, in their minds, what they're doing has helped them. But if they really looked at it critically, they're like it's like they're in a rut that they're just digging deeper. They really haven't going up. They haven't ascended. They're going down.
You remember, it's a chapter in the Circle 7 called Misery. It started out, weak and insufficient as thou art, O man, and good. There is one thing in which thou art obstinate and moveth not, and his name is misery. Because of the suffering, we latch on to the suffering. Because we are empathetic people, when we believe that something drastic has happened to our people, we're going to ride that suffering out. Right? Because that's the grievance.
Mm-hmm.
Is our people is got a very unique characteristic. I don't want to see you going through nothing I don't want to go through. And if I come across you dealing with something that I don't want to deal with, I'm going to do everything I can to enlighten you on how to change what you're going through so you can be in a less traumatic situation. Each one teach one. This is where it comes from. If I don't want you to go through nothing I don't want to, why would I inflict it upon you and force you to go through it? That's the enemy's perspective. That's what his agenda is. He's using your energy to harvest. He's putting you through the stuff he don't want to go through, and you so caught on the misery and the empathy of the misery that you attach to the suffering while he reaping the benefit.
Yeah. You're right, but I mean, like I said, but at the end of the day, it's all about how we can come together and stop fighting each other, and everyone has to ask him or herself, what is my motivation? Everybody wants, if we get great ideas, and I'm an idea factory, but one thing I come to realize is that even though I have a lot of what I think are damn good ideas, they're not all for me to put into effect. Right. I'm not supposed to execute them all, but I am supposed to share them. Somebody else has to pick that one up. But if it's coming through me I call myself the idea factory, then I should give it freely, because at the end of the day, it's going to be beneficial. So if somebody gets some kind of financial gain from it, fine. But larger, if it's helping us as a whole, then that's the important thing, knowing that we can't do everything. You sprinkle seeds out there, and like I said, one plants, another waters, and we used to say in church, and God gives the increase to it. But it's the same thing. You may not have your name on everything that is good that comes out of this, but at least you gave your positive energy to it, and it's going to benefit the whole. And I think some folks are afraid of not getting their just due, or their just, they want their 15 minutes.
Listen, our culture teaches us this. Whatever you can do to contribute to the collective, if you do that, the collective will make sure you're taken care of, because it's a mutual exchange of benefit. But anything that you do that only serves your own interest and has no benefit to anybody other than one person, the community never supports that. Right? So why do we buy music?
Why do we?
Music is our culture. It's a critical part of our culture. We can talk through the music what we can't say openly regular. Right? So you a producer, Tracy Chapman. You're a producer, Bob Marley. You're a producer, Sam Cooke. And you're a producer, the OJs and the Temptations. And we know we got a message in the music. Somebody got to remind us it's a message in the music. Because when we can't talk politically in the realm of politics, when we can't talk because somebody got us stifled in politics. Politics is a well-controlled and well-organized scam.
But if you break that word down into the two words it is, poly, many, ticks, bloodsuckers, it's right what it says, just what it is.
And right there in the word.
It's right there.
And so just be your best self and make your interests also serve the interests of the most people you can. Some people can only muster up enough inner light to serve 10 people in their lifetime. But those 10 people might go on to serve tens of thousands each because of that contribution. Because you did your part, you've affected tens of thousands just by teaching those 10. Right? Each one teach one, we all gonna reach something.
Right.
Right? So when we understand what's going on the land, the more of the mothers, really, it's more important that the mothers get this information than anybody else because it's their shit. The sisters got what you call first right to the earth right, which is the earth-born birthright. Earth is a feminine planet, and it's supposed to be ruled under matriarchy. The mitochondrial in the woman is also found in the soil of the earth. Right? That's because the woman is tied to the earth through mitochondria, and she blesses the man to have mitochondrial as well. Right? And the love of the women ties into the love of the child's mother that's performing the function to make his mitochondria produce more output, which raises his consciousness to higher levels. This is what they call, what do they say, raise yourself to infinite wisdom. Right? That's what he's talking about. Make your service, make the mothers so proud that they all want their sons or their daughter to be like you. And when you get the respect of the mothers, you change the landscape. Just by them feeling in their heart that somebody came that can see the problem to get us out, changes the vibrational frequency, and then it make the bloodsuckers start running the other way because they can't tolerate love energy. They become violent, aggressive, and most of the time it be inflicted upon themselves.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm trying to keep myself, like I said, my brain is racing and all, you always think, but I'm thinking back in terms of when you hear folks say, you chose to be here in this time. We make those determinations as to whether or not we're going to incarnate at a certain time to be in the earth realm, which is like the prison planet and the university all in one. So we chose to be here. So if we chose to be here, we knew or we felt that we could make a difference, whether it be in our suffering or in our joy, whatever success or lack thereof, that it was going to make a difference. Because who would pick something so horrible, if you will, as a time of what we've seen, unless we knew that the outcome was positive. That in
right. So just like when you're going out, your past life flashed before your eyes. When you coming in, your future life is laid out before your face. You would know how to navigate it better if they didn't shine them bright ass lights on you in the delivery room. Because you're supposed to birth a child in ambient light. This is why we need our doula centers back. They took all the doula centers and turned them into hospitality places. The places of hospitality to us used to be the whorehouse. So now we prostitute ourselves for medical research and don't even know it. That's why they always practicing, because they don't know what they're doing.
Wow. That's interesting.
That's why they so quick to snatch out uterus and chop off breasts. They call that desecration of the holy places. Each one of the women, when they self-realize, is a holy place. She is an entire temple dedicated to creation itself.
Churches are laid out as a woman's holy place, you know, when you coming down the aisle or going into the, you know, so yeah.
And Dr. Bean tell it like this. She said, heaven is between the legs of the black woman. That's what Dr. Bean tell you, because ain't nobody get in to earth without going through the portal of life.
True.
They can make many trans testicles as